thermal sound wave. It's thermal sound waves, a natural alternative to fast food radio. We here, C.Truth, Kev Lawrence.
That's what he said.
As you know, this is the part of the section of the show where we bring in some peoples or
Great
people to talk to us, have a little conversation, and let us know what's going on in their world and what's happening and something that you may gain some things from. And right now, we're bringing in a noisy Mic Handz.
Yeah, I do. He do a lot of things. He does a lot of things. So while we talk to him right now, he might be writing, producing, designing, and holding the camera at the same time while being a great parent.
Right. No question, man. What's up, Mic Handz? You there?
Yeah, everything gonna be easy, brother. I'm just here trying to keep one foot in front of the other. You know how that goes.
No question. Yeah, so for those who don't know, Mike has been on the program before, so it's been a little minute though, and he has some new things he got rocking out right now. So we want to touch some bases and find out what's been going on with Mike, since we last had him on the program. So what's going on with you? What's happening right now as far as like what you got jumping off?
Well, right now, man, I'm in the middle of pushing the Golden Era Timeless album. That's kind of my primary focus. It's been a long time coming, a very long journey to get here. A lot of ups and downs and pandemics and transplants and things and such. So I just, I'm on the journey trying to keep it going.
No doubt. And what's the new project about?
So, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the name is absolutely a self-entitled, speak for itself kind of situation. The Golden Era Timeless, I believe that genre or that era of hip hop, I think it's probably the most era specific when it comes to the timeless portion of our journey.
Mike, I'm going to need you to stay still for a second because we're getting all that you're doing.
We're in the fumbling.
I had to get to a better location so you didn't hear the background noise part of it.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's the most timeless point in our hip hop timeline. I think every record, for the most part, that was a hit in that time, you can put on right now in any situation, they'll get almost the same exact reaction, no matter what the crowd. And I think that's something that always spoke to me and resonated with me, and it's something that I want to make sure that I can do my part to make sure it doesn't disappear.
Well, who were some of the people that did that for you?
Oh man, like of course Biggie, Pac. You have anything that Dre touched during that era. Pharcyde during that era. Yeah. Bone Thugs during that era. There's just so many that the whole Bad Boy movement during that era, the whole Rough Riders movement during that era, the Murder Inc. aspect of that era. There's so many different people that contributed, whether they had a huge catalog or a handful of strong contributions. It all still resonates today.
No doubt. And as far as like what you're touching on and writing about and what's like on your mind right now in general, or just, as an artist as well, but that kind of commingle with all of that? Well,
for me, it was about time and the transcendence of time and the impact time has on just about everything, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. And, with what happened during the creation of this album, I lost my mom, I had my grandchildren, so there's like life and death. Then I had my kidneys failed, and then I sustained on dialysis, and I got a transplant, so life and death. Just completely dramatic bookends of life, and they're all irrelevant or relative to time. So, there's songs like Continuum that are on there and Keep Going, and certain records that just literally speak directly to time.
Absolutely, no question. And what did you learn from that whole experience that you are using now, as far as like the situation with the dialysis and the kidneys and stuff like that?
All of it is, not that we didn't know that tomorrow isn't promised, but now it's promised not to be promised once you experience certain feedback and certain realities in your personal life that tell you, hey, we need you to go left or you will not go right. We need you to go up or you will not go down. There is no other option. And when you get to that place, start to look at life differently.
What is it like being you said a grandfather, like in this right now, in this game of and doing hip hop, which
Mike ain't old.
Not many old. People. I didn't say he was old. But
no, I ain't say you said it.
Some people may be thinking that though.
Right.
But
if you know me, I've had children all my life, so that I don't get viewed the same way once you get to know me, or if you know my story at all, as the average quote unquote cliche grandfather. Right. I just happen to have children that had children, right?
Right.
That version. But it's an incredible scenario for me because I'm still youthful and viable enough that I can still relate to my children, and I can hope to still relate on some level to my grandchildren. Me and my kids wore the same labels and listened to a majority of the same artists until they got into their 30s. I mean, to their early 20s and late teens. Then they started to kind of, as music evolved, they went into other places. But they're based on the same stuff that I was listening to. Just like I guess I was based on the same stuff my mom, and dad were listening to.
Right.
But they just were a little bit more in touch. My new artists were their new artists.
Now, you had an event about a couple weeks ago to a month ago, and I seen at your event you had Lil Fame from MLP, you had Bernadette Price, aka Mrs. P. She was there, the wife of Sean Price. I love that woman. I love when she raps. I'm like, and she started saying P at the end. I was like, she got it. That's it right there. Yeah. She definitely got it. And I'm always noticing that you're always having really big hip hop heads at your event, at all your events. Excuse me. How is that putting together these events for people that love real hip hop music?
Well, I mean, if I heard, the question all the way correctly, one is awesome. All right, so my number one mission for getting into the music was probably misguided. I should have been a little bit more focused on the financial aspect, but I just really wanted the people that I thought was dope to think I was. So that was kind of like my bar and my goal. I won't say it was my end game, but it was the only one I was really acknowledged. So to work with these individuals that I felt like I missed the opportunity to work with in the quote unquote mist of the golden era. You know what I mean? So when Annie Up was a huge record, I wish I was at the level of being on radar or having a relationship to do something with them at that time, and possibly get on the remix or the mixtape remix, during that era, or when Tragedy was really doing what he was doing at the Apex, or, when Sean and my boot camp family were in Apex. I wasn't there. I missed a lot of it because I was still getting myself together and learning what it meant to really not just put music together, but be an artist, and survive in this game and learn the game enough to be playing at that level. So having them there now is kind of validating for me on my personal journey, and definitely splashes a lot of water out of my bucket list. However, I think for anybody that does attend the events and experience the events, I think it helps validate the immersion that we're offering into that time warp of that era. Like I like to create events and spaces where my heroes are everyone in the room's heroes.
And what are some of the things that, or some of the ways you've been able to navigate through all of these different eras of hip hop? Because I know you know hip hop for different decades and different years and stuff like that, and you're still doing it now, and you're still putting out material that's hitting. So how have you been able to navigate all the different years and eras in hip hop in the game?
Well, if you liken it to basketball, there were a lot of your best players, sat benches at some point, and all they had to do was study the playbook and study the game and study the players. You know what I mean? So when they did get on the floor, they already could anticipate everybody playing, or they already mastered the playbook. Just call the play, I can run it. It was the same situation. So while I was waiting my turn to get heard or to get seen, all I did was study the plays, and I got to study vastly. I got to study South, Midwest, New York, all of it as it was happening, because I wasn't in traffic. So all I was doing was really studying traffic going by. So I wasn't also always existing in the space as an artist. I was a clothing designer for 20 plus years. So I was still, I was a part of fashion when fashion and music merged and became one industry.
Great products, by the way, too.
I appreciate you. So when Sean John, the first company I worked for within the industry was Sean John, by the way. Shout out, Diddy for that, and PJ and Cassius and those people, Scott Langston, Heather. But
Tiffany
with
Elzie.
That situation, fashion and music had become one industry, and back then Biggie had just passed, Puffy and Family was the project that they were really kind of focusing on, and the label, Sean John. So I got to be close enough to the music, and just because you didn't know me as an MC, I was able to garner respect within the industry from another angle. So some people knew I could rap. Other people knew I was the guy that from this brand or from that brand, or before that I was modeling. So, that's the kid from the Gap or from Benetton or whatever it may have been. So those different things are all contributed to the different layers of relevance that I was able to kind of claim for myself along the way throughout the different eras getting here. Now, let's say the different incarnations of it getting here. But I will say that the hardest part along the journey was getting everybody on the same page to realize that the model kid was the kid from the commercial, and the kid from the commercials was the kid that could rap, and the kid that could rap was the kid that was designing.
No question. So you have done what we have given advice to many people about on this program, which is you don't necessarily have to be that artist per se. You don't necessarily have to do this particular, like, you could do different lanes in this business and still be within this business and, you know, survive and get to where you need to get to. Like, it doesn't have to be a particular path. It could be different types of path going on.
I think you can use bricks from all the paths to create whatever primary platform you're looking for. So when you look at someone on stage, I guarantee you it's not a whole bunch. If 50 Cent's on stage, there's not a bunch of 50 Cents holding the stage up. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different bricks and components holding the stage up so that 50 can exist. So if you look at 50 now, 50 can take the stage whenever he wants, but Curtis Jackson is the one that creates the relevance so that 50 can continue to breathe.
Right.
And I think that's what it is for me. So Mic Handz was also Mike Handler. So if you looked at some of my older music, I was Mike Handler. But if you looked at my old fashion career, there were things that were, you know, this collection by Michael Handler. So that was another incarnation of, you know, Mic Handz or
This
Handz.
is the remix.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's exactly what it was. And if you go back far enough into, you know, the street business when I was Whirlwind, the Decepticon, and then I became Hand Skills. So Handz had always been here, just finding his you know, relevance along the way.
No doubt, no question. Listen, man, we're not going to keep you too much longer here, but we want to let people find out where they can reach you, get in contact with you, get that new music and other things that you got going on.
And merch.
Because it's not just the music. It's a lot of more other things that you're doing.
So first of all, I want to thank Thermal Sound Waves for having me always. I'm used to having to come all the way uptown to come sit with y'all. This was cool. Y'all always gave me an excuse to show up uptown, but I mean, you know, MicHandz.nyc, that's the website. You can pull up on that. That gives you kind of a conduit to everything else that's going on. There's Faction 43, that's the avenue to the clothing, the merch line, be it collecting merch, be it Mic Handz or Golden Era, or making inquiries about getting your merch designed and produced.
Instagram, Twitter, all that is Mic Handz.
Mic Handz on everything. Twitter is the real Mic Handz. I'm never there because no one ever talks to me. So I'm literally Twitterly challenged. But Facebook, you know, you can go to Mic Handz fan page or just, you know, Google, I tell people, is probably your best bet because it's fun. Like for me, I Google myself just to see what popped up that I had no clue was there. But there's about 30 pages on there you can navigate and see, get a pretty broad stroke of what I could be or have been.
No doubt, no question. Well, listen, we appreciate you taking time out and you know, joining us on the program. You know what I'm saying? And all the things that you do and all the triumphs and all the things that you've been through to still be here doing what you're doing, man. That's a blessing, and we appreciate you.
First off, I want to shout out, you know what I mean, my brother Kamani. He just passed away, so
yes,
rest in peace, Kamani. And then I want to give a huge shout out as well to my brother Doc Ock, who just passed away tomorrow, his services, so I got to go pull up on him. But you know, without him, the stages, the writer's block, Rock the House, the writer's block concert series, all of the things that I've done that have ever contributed to what people say makes me one of the ambassadors of the pillars in New York Underground. He was the stage manager on every stage I ever had. So this is a huge loss for me. It's an even huger loss for New York hip hop and hip hop as a whole. So I just want to make sure I shout him out before we even get off the program. And I'm here, man. Anytime y'all need me, anytime, you know, and that's, you know, how it already goes down with you guys. Y'all are friends and family before, you know, just a promo platform. So I appreciate y'all 1,000% for always holding me down.
No question. No doubt, man. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, evening. And we definitely gonna get up with you soon, man.
Stay up, y'all.
All right, bro. Peace. It's Thermal Sound Waves, the natural alternative to fast food radio. We here.
Thermal Sound Wave.